Welcome to tour stop number 4. You are now looking at not one, but two country schoolhouses from Jackson Township. The northernmost building, and the shorter of the two buildings, is the former South Prairie Schoolhouse, and the taller building to the south is the Living Lake Country Schoolhouse. Let's take some time to learn more about these historic buildings. One-room schoolhouses were a big part of growing up in rural Iowa, and Washington County was no exception. There were 9 different country schools in Jackson Township, which meant that there was one school for every 4 sections. You can see the names of all the schools here, as well as their locations. First, let's learn about the Living Lake Schoolhouse, which is the larger building on the south. The Living Lake School has also been referred to as the Meek School, due to the number of children from the Meek family who originally attended. It was also called Turkey College, after some young boys put turkeys in the attic on Halloween. The Living Lake School was originally located in Section 34 of Jackson Township, near what is now the corner of Riverside Road and Palm Avenue. The structure that you see today was built in 1908 and underwent some major renovations and improvements. In 1929, that included electrical lights, maps, globes, a sandbox, and even a large basement that was utilized for recreation purposes during inclement weather. The schoolhouse was moved to Washington Stewart School in 1959 and was eventually moved to the Washington County Fairgrounds in 1962, where you can enjoy it today. This is a great then and now picture that shows some of the changes that Living Lake has undertaken. The red square is an outline of the original building as it might have looked when it was built in 1908. The vertical line shows where 10 feet was added to the building in 1929. I'm sure many of our 4-Hers had grandparents that attended the Living Lake School. The next 2 slides are a couple of photos of some students from the Living Lake. Feel free to pause the video to get a closer look. If you can help us identify these students from Living Lake, we'd love to hear from you. Feel free to leave comments in the video. I was fortunate to find several newspaper articles, one regarding Living Lake. I will be providing my research to the Washington County Genealogical Library, where you can gladly make copies in the meantime. You can pause the video and check out these next 2 slides more closely. The 1941 students from different rural Washington County schools wrote some fantastic histories of their country schoolhouses. Pictured on the left is the South Prairie School being moved to its location at the northwest corner of the Stewart School in Washington in 1959. The South Prairie School is the shorter of the 2 buildings, and it serves as the main entrance to the open class exhibits at the Washington County Fair. The South Prairie School was moved to its current location, along with the Living Lake School, in 1962. The South Prairie School had a history of being destroyed by fire. The building that you see today is actually the 4th building, and it was constructed in 1934 at a cost of $1,531, which would be the equivalent of about $30,000 today. I really enjoyed this picture of students from 1930. This would have been taken at the beginning of the Great Depression, and one young boy in the front can be seen without any shoes. It was common for children to go without any shoes during these times. The South Prairie Schoolhouse was used for much more than just education. It was also utilized for women's candy socials, and the original building was even witness to a few baptisms. It appears that the South Prairie School held several reunions, and that they were well attended. They even held a few reunions at the fairgrounds after the schoolhouse was relocated. Resources were the Washington County Genealogical Library and the Community History Archive, which is a free website that has digital copies of old newspapers. A special thanks also to the Dave Burney family, whose donation of materials from the Living Lake School aided greatly to my research.